I'm almost certain that you don't know that one of these corner cabinets might not be the best fit for your room when you're creating your layout plan for your new IKEA kitchen. And in this video, I want to share with you why this one is my favorite and why this one sometimes comes with a lot of pain and aggravation. So keep watching. Before we take a close objective view on the corner cabinet to the left, which is the one I don't like, I want to share with you my opinion about it. And then you can do with that whatever you like, but I think you should know what I think. First and foremost, I think it's old school. I think it's something that belongs in the past, and I don't like the concept of a bifold door. I think it's weird when you open it, and I think it's in the way when you open it. And I think that the access to the cabinet as it is not really well done. The other one to the right is my favorite when it comes to corner cabinets. First and foremost, it has a regular door, not a bifold door. And it's nice and wide, and there's good access to whatever you have in that cabinet. And for the inside of the cabinet, you have two options. One is a shelf, and the other one is the Lazy Susan you see in the video. And it can not only swing out, but you can also pull on it. So it comes out even further, giving good access to whatever you have on those Lazy Susan shelves. As I mentioned before, this is my personal opinion about the corner cabinet to the left with the bifold door, and you don't have to listen to that, but I can strongly suggest that you listen to what comes now, because here's the real issue with that cabinet, and that has to do with the installation of it. The restrictions that comes with this cabinet may have an impact on the final result. So if you have a layout plan that looks similar to the examples I will show you in this video, I hope you will think twice before you add that corner cabinet to your plan. A good place to start is to look at the two options IKEA give you for lower corner cabinets. And the first one is this one, the 38 by 38 or 88 by 88 if we are doing metrics. Here's the one I like. That's the long one, the 47 by 26 or 128 by 68 centimeters if we are metric. That one comes in two versions. Actually, it comes in one version, but it can be assembled to accommodate either the door sitting to the left or the door sitting to the right. And in this example, we will look at the door sitting to the left, but this is how it looks like when it's sitting to the right. The other one, the square one, that one comes in one version only, and that is with a bifold door. The door can be swapped over though, so it opens either to the left or to the right, but you can only get it with a Lazy Susan, whereas you can get the long one without the Lazy Susan and a shelf in there instead. In regards to insulation of these two cabinets, they are very different, and that's what is making one better than the other. The square corner cabinet is attached to the suspension rail with three brackets. Two on the left hand side as we see here, and one at the back on the right hand side. And that makes the cabinet sitting really tight in the corner not being able to move at all. As you can imagine, if it's sitting on the suspension rail at 3 points, not in a line but on an angle of these 90 degrees, that cabinet cannot slide to either side. The other one, on the other hand, is attached to the wall on only 2 points, and they are sitting at the back of the cabinet. And that means that this cabinet can actually move to the side. In this case, it cannot go any further into the right-hand corner, but it can slide a bit to the left. And that means that all of a sudden it becomes flexible. And it might be that you want to move it just half an inch or an inch. And by doing so, being able to have a sink cabinet sitting right center on the window, or no need for putting in ugly fillers. If your room is absolutely perfect and your walls are perpendicular to each other, you won't have any problems adding cabinets to both sides of the corner cabinet to the left. But as you can imagine, if the corner of the room is not absolutely 90 degrees, you will have an issue when you attach cabinets to the corner cabinet, because those cabinets sitting on the side there, they are tied into the cabinet, and the cabinet is 90 degrees, no doubt about that. And if the wall is not, The further you move away from that corner, the bigger the distance from the line of cabinets into the wall will become, and that's not good. If it's only half an inch or an inch, maybe as the maximum, that is 2.5 centimeters, you won't have big problems, but nevertheless it will be something you have to deal with, because you have to shim the rail. And if you have, for instance, a range standing at the long line of that cabinet, that range, where will that be? Will that be pushed to the wall, or will it be parallel to the wall, or will it be parallel to the cabinets? Nevertheless, it's not a great situation, and it's caused by that corner cabinet alone. Of course, one solution could be to push the cabinets towards the wall, and it will leave a gap right there where I have circled. But then you'll need to put a filler in there. And if you've seen some other of my videos, you know already that fillers are not my thing. I think fillers is an eyesore, no matter what. The only filler I accept, in my point of view, is where the cabinet goes to the wall and you have some space you need to fill up. Or the filler that is part of the cabinet, like we will see in the other corner cabinet, because that corner cabinet has a filler right there in the corner where the adjacent cabinet is sitting. We have a filler there, and that one is okay. And that filler is not only okay, that filler is actually the reason why I think this corner cabinet is really great. Because if we do have a wall that again is not 90 degrees, and we put the cabinets towards the wall, as you see here, the filler will kind of absorb that difference. And the difference between this filler and the other one is that this one is not squeezed in the same plane of doors. No, it's sitting right in the corner, and it's blending in really well, much better than if you put a filler between two cabinets that sits on the same wall, and that filler is sitting there in between two cabinets, kind of breaking up the flow of the doors. This one will not do that. This one will look great, and whether that filler is 2 inches or 3 inches, it really doesn't matter. And that means that those cabinets can be sitting, as you see here, where they're not perpendicular to each other, and you will hardly notice it at all. And since we can change the width of that filler, we are able to move those cabinets sitting adjacent to the corner cabinet. We can move them, in this case, down the wall to a position that is more favorable for our layout. And in order to see why that is a great idea, let's look at the other corner cabinet, how that will deal with this specific situation. Now I've added a window to the wall, and I put in a double sink cabinet. And I'm doing that because a lot of people, they will like the sink cabinet with the faucet to be sitting dead center on the window. And as you can see with this corner cabinet, we don't have many options but to slide that cabinet down the wall and add a filler right there in between, a big ugly filler. Sometimes you can replace the sink cabinet with a smaller sink cabinet, but if you're doing that, you're kind of selling out the importance of this, because what do you want the most? The faucet to be sitting dead center on the window, or having a big sink cabinet. But that is, of course, for you to decide which one of those two you want. Or if you're okay to have a filler in there, then by all means, go ahead. But I gotta tell you, you have to be super lucky to find that the exact distance from the wall to the center of the window lines up with the options you have for cabinets. Now, as comparison to this troublesome cabinet, let's see what the long corner cabinet has to offer if we throw in a window. So we added a window, as you can see. And if we add a sink cabinet next to this setup, you will see that to begin with, that sink cabinet is not lined up with the center of the window either. I know that you know where I'm going with this, because now with this cabinet, as I just showed you a few minutes ago, we can slide that one down the wall until it sits perfectly centered on that window. The only consequence is that that filler will be a tiny bit bigger, but you really cannot see this. And if it gets too big, we can always modify a cabinet to 5 inches in the width and squeeze it in between the corner cabinet and the sink cabinet, and having a filler in the corner about 2 inches wide, because that's all we need for the doors or drawers to open without hitting the handles on the cabinet sitting next to it. And if we have the window on the other side of the cabinet offers the same kind of flexibility if we need to align the sink cabinet with that window, because we can take the corner cabinet and we can slide it, in this case, to the left, so there will be no filler between the sink cabinet and the corner cabinet. Another unfortunate situation I often see when this corner cabinet has been used in a layout plan where a kitchen has to sit between two walls, and you add two of those cabinets. And as you already know now, that cabinet is sitting right in the corner, and that means you cannot slide it in any direction. And that means that the distance between those two cabinets has to be pretty accurate to fit whatever you want to fit in there, because if you just have half an inch too much, you need to put in a filler. And I would consider that really, really, really lucky if you have that exact measurement. And if you have that on paper, you might not have it in reality, because the wall could be, a little bit warped, or that could be just a bit of extra mud in the corner, and your plan is not working. But fear not, once again, our long corner cabinet comes to the rescue, because by adding that in just one of those two corners, you will add that flexibility you need to make everything work. It might be that in this case I have a sink cabinet sitting in the window, under the window, and it might be that it's not lining up perfectly. So you have to, deal with that as well. But in terms of fitting the accurate measurement across the room, by adding one of the long corner cabinets where you have that flexibility in the filler, you are saving the day for this layout plan. So far we have only been dealing with the base cabinets, and I'm sorry to bring you this bad news, but when it comes to the wall cabinets, the 45-degree corner cabinet is as bad as the square base cabinet. And that is because this one is also hanging on both walls, not just on one wall, but on both. And this do not have 3 brackets, it only has 2, but it's still sitting on both walls. And that means it has to be sitting tight in that corner, it cannot slide anywhere. So in the layout you see in this picture, you have to be really super lucky if the width of all those cabinets is the exact same as the distance between those two walls where the cabinet is sitting in between. And I have seen that in more layout plans that I care to remember. And in every single one of them, it was not that easy when I was installing the kitchen. So we have to make changes in order to make it look nice. And you don't want to do that. You want to have a layout plan that works from the beginning. So when you start installing, you know exactly what to do, and you know that it will work for you. And luckily for us, we do have a corner cabinet for the wall cabinets that are very similar to the one for the base cabinets. This one is made from a 36-inch wide wall cabinet where we add some brackets and a panel, so it becomes a corner cabinet. And it will be sitting in the corner looking like this. And it has the filler right in the corner as well, so it offers the exact same benefits as the lower cabinet counterpart for this corner cabinet. And this cabinet is also sitting on 2 brackets only that are hanging on the same wall. And that means that this one can also slide to the side if we need to move it a tiny bit to line up with the lowers, as an example. So that's a great idea. I can highly recommend using that one. It might not be so easy to reach at the back, but it will look much nicer. And if we haven't already covered a lot of disadvantages of this cabinet, let me just add another one. Imagine that you have the base corner cabinet, the square one sitting in the corner, and you do have the 45-degree upper wall cabinet sitting like this. And then you have a few cabinets next to it. You want that line right there at the fridge cabinet to be vertical. If your wall is not vertical to begin with, where the 2 corner cabinets are hanging, you really need to pay attention that you can shim so they are sitting on the same plane. Otherwise, that panel at the fridge will never, ever in a million years be vertical. So that's another thing you need to consider with this cabinet. You would not have that problem with the other type of corner cabinets because you have the flexibility built into the cabinets. What would my recommendation be for the corner cabinet? Well, I think that the long corner cabinets, uppers as well as low, always offers the flexibility you need when you are installing or when you're creating a layout plan and later on installing your IKEA kitchen. I think that the square one, the lower and the upper as well, you need to know the limitations of those cabinets so you don't run into problems. And that's basically what there is, because those cabinets can be fine in many situations. If you don't have that restriction of that they need to add up to a wall, or they need to be sitting next to a window, or all those restrictions that I lined out in this video. So if you need to see it again, I think you should. But how can you prepare in the best possible way if you want to create your own layout plan and if you want to install the kitchen yourself? Well, I can highly recommend that you do your layout plan, not necessarily with Ikea, because Ikea, they most likely know their products very well, but the people at Ikea, they have never installed a kitchen. Certainly not the ones I deal with. And that means that many layout plans I see from Ikea, they are not really installable. And I see those corner cabinet problems again and again and again. And I see filler put in everywhere to accommodate cabinet sitting center on the window and things like that. So if you're doing the installation yourself and you're creating the layout plan yourself, or even let Ikea do the plan and you just kind of supervise it, I can certainly highly recommend that you find someone who is an experienced Ikea kitchen installer and have this person look at the plan for you. And if you cannot find anyone where you live locally, I'm happy to say that I am here to help you out as well. And as you will see in the description to this video, I offer a service where I can take a look at your layout plan and give you some suggestions to what needs to be changed. And not only that, I will also go through the whole order list so you are sure that you have everything you need for the installation ordered to begin with. But check it out on my website. I will leave a link in the description, and then you can go and read all about it. How about that? And if you have decided now after watching this video to do the long corner cabinet instead of the square one, I think you should watch these videos. They might be very helpful to you.